Alright guys, straight from my daughter's nursery since I'm going to be out with the baby. Figured I'd film this one in here before the baby gets here and have a little fun since this is a little bit more of an arts and craft project that hopefully will come in handy as you do your reviewing for the AP exam. So this is a calculus review foldable, and you got to pay close attention because if you miss a step, could come out wrong or whatever, and you can always go back and rewind it and however you need to do to figure this thing out. So you got to start off with 3 sheets of paper that I have printed out for you. There's a pink one, a blue one, and a green one. Okay, and we're going to do step by step how to make this foldable. Now, it's not filled in. You guys are going to get to fill that in, and hopefully by filling it in, you'll be able to kind of remember all your formulas and all those derivatives and integrals and every other thing you need to remember for this exam. First thing we're going to do is start with that pink sheet of paper. Okay, you want to start with the pink one, and what we're going to do is actually fold it in half first. Okay, and you want to fold it in half so that the blank side with all the lines on it is inside. All the extra stuff is on the outside. Okay. Then you're actually going to fold it again. You're going to fold the outside edges in towards the middle. So you're going to fold that inside. I know you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing right now, but I need to use the table. And what you're going to do is take those outside edges and fold them in towards that middle crease. So you get something that looks like that. So you'll have kind of like a 4 sections you just folded that into. Okay. Once you get that done, all right, at the top of the pieces in the middle, it says remove. Okay, take a pair of scissors and you can cut off that piece and cut right on the fold as well. So there's actually 2 at the top and then 2 at the bottom. I know it says the remove kind of is cut off. That's okay. So we're going to take a pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut off that one section that says remove. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so what I have here is the top now. You can actually see that it says derivatives and integrals. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Cut off that part that says remove. And some of your copies may not be the greatest lined up. We're just going to kind of make do. Copy machines aren't the best sometimes, as you've seen this year. And so when you've cut out those pieces, you should have derivatives, integrals at the top. On the bottom, you should actually see basic trigonometric functions there. Okay? Nothing else needs to be cut out yet. Take that pink sheet, put it off to the side. Now we're going to take a look at the blue sheet. Okay, we're going to actually do the exact same thing with the blue sheet. We're going to fold it in half. Alright, again, you want kind of the blank section in the middle. All the integrals and stuff on the outside, blank lines in the middle. Then we're going to fold it again just like we did the last one. Turn that outside piece in towards the middle and fold it again. Same thing with the other side. Okay, So when you're done, you should have 4 creases right there. And once you get those done, you can go ahead and cut out the parts that say remove. Now, the blue one's a little bit off more than the other ones just because it was a different template. So don't be too mad if it doesn't look like it's going to be perfect. But we're going to cut off those little sections that say remove. Top corners and the bottom, and on this one there are some sections in the middle that say remove, so go ahead and cut those out as well. Okay, so you should have the top, the bottom 2, and the top 2. The top you'll see derivatives and integrals. The bottom, barely you can see natural logs and exponentials. We may have to rewrite that later. I'm also going to cut out the middle section. Nice big section just below those integrals of arc trig. And then one on the left side as well, just a smaller one. Okay, so you have tops cut off, you got these little flaps in the middle, make sure they're cut through, and should be good with the blue piece. And now let's go on to the green piece. Green piece, same idea, really empty spot, all your volume and area stuff. We're going to fold in towards the middle. So that the unit circle is on the back, not on the inside. We're going to do the same thing, fold those edges in. So we have our 4 creases, and now the bottom sections we can go ahead and cut out. Okay, this one only has 2, so once you do that, you have the bottom section that is showing. You see sounds of revolution at the bottom, hopefully. It might be a little off, so don't be discouraged if it is. Copying machines aren't the greatest. And there we have our 3 pieces. Okay, now what we're going to do is actually line them up. Okay, we're going to have differential equations, which is on the back of the green one. On top. Underneath that, we want to take the blue one, and where it says inverse functions, we're going to line that underneath the green one. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in 1 second. And on the very bottom is going to be basic rules for polynomials. And when you line these up, you're going to lay them on top of each other just like this. Okay, so if you take a look at this, you should be able to see differential equations. You should be able to see a little bit of the inverse functions. It may not totally see it. And then basic rules for polynomials in there as well. You should see an upside down general power rule in there. And you should also see an upside down d over dx of cx. Alright, so you should see these 2 pink pieces along with these guys here. Alright, now what we're going to do is staple. So make sure you can see those. Make sure they're lined up correctly there as best you can. Alright. And we're going to take a stapler. And we are actually going to staple right on that dotted line if you can. Now, depending on your stapler, this may be harder than it looks. My stapler is not quite long enough, so I may have to bend my pink and blue a little bit to get it to work. But do your best with it. I'm really going to bend mine. I'm going to staple right on the dotted line. That works. It's not great. But I'm putting it right on that dotted line, right there above where it says name. Okay, I'm putting two. I'm putting one right here and one right here. Alright, once you get that stapled, and I know if you're doing this in the class, you're going to have to pass around the stapler a little bit, so feel free to pause if you need to pause. Now what we have is this booklet. We're going to do each piece individually. I'm going to start with the pink piece, the inside. On every one of those dotted lines, go ahead and cut a slit. So you want to go ahead and cut all of those dotted lines on the pink sleeves, the pink sheet. So what you're going to have is all these little flaps. Cut them straight to the end of the dotted line. And just do the pink one. I know some of you are thinking, let's do all the blue and green, but just do the pink one. Alright, so I got one side totally done. Just the pinks. And I'm going to do the other side, same thing, just on those dotted lines. And so what we're creating here are these little windows that as you lift up that tab, underneath of it will be the actual rule or the answer. So now I have all these little pink tabs here ready to fold over. And what we're going to do is fold all those down. Alright, fold all of them down, and then at the crease where you staple, you're going to fold the pink sheet over. Right on top of it. So what you're going to get is the pink one folded down, just the pink one, don't do the blue yet. Alright, and you'll have rates of change up top, you'll have basic rules for polynomials, and you should see basic trigonometric functions underneath of it. Alright, well let's take a look at the top part of the blue. And again, this one's a little off, but what we're going to do is do the same thing with the blue now. We're going to cut on those dotted lines. Okay, so you're making little windows for the dotted lines on the blue one now. Alright, just do the top. What we're going to do is actually fold over the top now. So turn them all in, fold it down, right on top of the pink. Alright, now we're going to do the bottom part of the blue. So in order to do the bottom part of the blue, you actually have to lift up the pink part, and we're going to tuck the blue underneath of it. Alright, and then go ahead and cut all those slits there. So on the dotted line, go ahead and cut. Alright, make sure you get all of them all the way to the edge. And hopefully they'll line up for the most part on the paper underneath of it, so that when you lift up that flap, you can go ahead and fill in what that derivative or integral is. There's also definition and logarithmic properties, so you can put those all down. And now you should have the blue and the pink totally done with all those little windows. If you lift up one, you have it. Now this is where I was saying we may have to write in natural log and exponentials because you can't really see it. That's okay. Let's take a pen, and on that kind of extra space there, I'm going to write natural log and exponentials. Alright, so now I drew natural log and exponentials at the bottom. Now we got to take care of that green part. Green part's a little different. We actually need a little bit of a piece cut out of it so that we can actually fold this over. So here where it says area under the curve and cross sections on the other side, we're going to take a nice little chunk out of this, probably about 1/4 of an inch, right above the area under the curve and right below average velocity, and take it right to the edge of your crease. I ripped mine, that's okay. So you have a nice little gap there. Now be careful not to cut too much off. I cut off a little bit of cross sections, but try not to cut too much. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So right above area between two curves, and right above the dotted line, cut off another piece. So you have kind of like two nice sized gaps right there. Alright, may have to cut a little more, may have to cut a little less, but the idea here, all you have to do is fold over the top green part. Now the way that I stapled it, you can actually tuck it behind your blue pieces, fold it down, and lift up your blue, tuck in your green flaps down on the bottom, and you should have a nice little booklet just like this that has all of the different formulas you'll need for the AP test. Alright, if you flip through it, you have your differential equations, you have your physics parts, your slope fields, alright, separation of variables, your rules with that. Alright, next tab would be inverse functions. You can go ahead and put all of your derivatives of inverse trig functions and your integrals of inverse trig functions. Then you have your rates of change. Alright, all those rules there. You flip it up, your derivatives and integrals, you can fill in all those, all your basic ones. Flip that up. This one you really can't see that well, but this is your derivatives and integrals of natural logs and exponentials. Flip that up, and here's all your area volume stuff that you can write. Now you can fill in anything you need here. This is totally up to you. You fill in what you feel is most beneficial for you to get through this test. And you can use this for all of your studying. Okay? Good luck. Have a great week. If you have questions, come see me.